Right, so we're just waiting for Alex to join as a speaker. I sent him an invitation. There's a lot of requests to speak already. That's awesome. Really looking forward to this. There's going to be some great audience participation. I know everyone's really excited to figure out what the latest is and what they can learn about this partnership between CelsiusX, Polygon, and QuickSwap. And we're all really excited. Thanks everyone for being here. And I believe Sandeep is running a few minutes late. Is that right?
Yeah, he'll be on shortly. We'll go ahead and get started. He's doing was it ETH Global? He's speaking, I think.
Okay, that sounds great. So it's really exciting. On a lot of fronts. I guess since we're waiting for Alex to join as a speaker, I'll start off with a question for you, Rock, if that's okay.
Of course.
Okay, great. So this question is, actually from a journalist who was sending questions because he's writing a piece about this collaboration. And the question is, why did QuickSwap choose to partner with Celsius? And what does this collaboration represent for QuickSwap?
Well, Celsius is obviously huge. These guys are legends in the space. They had the foresight to see what was coming in this industry before anyone else did. Really, they were among the early adopters and building tools for the community a long time ago. Alex is obviously a complete legend in the space. Being someone that's paving the way. I mean, with him being part of inventing voice over IP, which is how we're having this call right now. It's pretty incredible. I've been a big fan of his for a long time. So yeah, when this was all getting rolling, I was very excited. We've been talking about this for, I think it was almost a year leading up to this partnership. So really excited for it to happen.
I remember this conversation starting, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it has been about a year. All right. So I really was hoping that we could get Alex to join as a speaker because there's a lot of questions coming in, that would best be directed to him, I think. Let's see. I guess right now maybe we can take some questions.
A lot of the Celsius questions can also go to Carl, as he's head of, is it CelsiusX, Carl, or what's your exact position?
Yeah, I'm the chief architect, and I'm also the general manager for CelsiusX.
Okay, great. Well, I've got a question for you in that case. So I just learned recently that Celsius has a call-in customer service that people actually find useful and gets people answer in a reasonable amount of time and are very, very helpful. And I was wondering, to what extent that will, extend to CelsiusX, if at all, because it's, decentralized finance.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, you don't see a lot of customer service generally coming out from tech companies, right? Try giving Google a call. You're probably not going to find a number. So for Celsius, we have a fully functional and operational call center out of Las Vegas, United States, Nevada, right? And we're looking to provide a pretty unified experience, meaning that when a user comes to Celsius and they decide to wrap tokens using the platform, the customer service agents will be and are trained to provide support. Though I have a lot of confidence in the ability to deliver a very smooth user experience. We're not anticipating a lot of requests for those, but should we decide that should we see a lot of these requests, we'll be more than ready to handle these requests. And I see Alex is online as a speaker.
There we go. There he is. Yeah, no, that sounds great. Actually, I was so impressed when I learned that there was call-in customer service. That you're right. That is incredibly rare.
Yeah, and we're keeping tons of metrics. We're always trying to cut down the response time. And really, even for myself, I've been making these high tech products ever since I was in high school, and it's really amazing, right? Because a lot of times when something seemingly super trivial, super easy, but all it takes is a bad UI UX design, and it will generate a lot of confusion. And having that call center really helps.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks for that. Okay, so we've got, I don't know, do you guys want to start with a, introduction to exactly what this, partnership and collaboration means, or should we take some questions from people who have requests on the audience?
Why don't we introduce each person really quick? I think most people know us, but it would be good to do a quick rundown.
Okay, sure, that sounds great. All right, why don't we start with you, Rock?
Sure. So I'm co-founder of QuickSwap and CEO of Lunar Digital Assets. Lunar Digital Assets has been a marketing partner of Polygon now for about almost 3 years, I think. So we basically started marketing with Polygon in their very early days before anyone really knew a whole lot about them. I think the token was under a penny. I think they had around 7,000 Twitter followers, and now they're at 1.2 million. So it's been a great journey. It's been awesome to be along for the ride, and really proud to have built the #1 DEX on Polygon. Great to be here.
I see that Sandeep is in the audience as well. I wonder if we should pull him up on stage, or I could send him an invitation. But for now, okay, let's go to Alex. Alex, thanks for being here. I'm sure that most of the people listening know who you are, but if you could just briefly introduce yourself.
Sure. Just for those who can't see, Rock is definitely has the best rocks and the best fish in all of crypto. There's no question about that. He gets the the first prize for that, for having a perfect. That's a saltwater aquarium, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
it is
Coral
beautiful
reef. Yeah.
Yep. So again, super excited about our partnership, and again, Carl and the team is on our side have done a phenomenal job with Polygon, obviously with QuickSwap to kind of launch the stuff. And as part of this effort, we also recovered over $30 million of lost assets that people sent on the wrong chain or on their own layer to the wrong address, and so on and so on. So we've done good, and now we're going to do well, as Celsius always says. Personally, again, I've been in crypto. Started as a Bitcoin denier in 2009, kind of saying that this thing is just not going to scale, too many problems, and obviously became a convert. And I feel that we all kind of carrying Satoshi's flag here in trying to bring the world traditional financial system into this new paradigm where we build these platforms for the users, for the people, for the community, and not for a select few people who benefit from it. I think all the companies on this call represent that. Again, I think Polygon is a great example of exactly that, and QuickSwap as well. So personally, again, I'm one of the co-founders of Celsius, currently CEO, and Celsius manages just over $20 billion for 1.5 million users, and we've paid yield now for 4.5 years. Paid over $1 billion worth of yield in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and so on, 50 different assets. And that's something that you just can't get in TradFi, right? You can't get 8.5% yield on your dollar equivalent stable coins. So we're very happy to help all these people who basically now they have their money work for them instead of just them working for their money.
Great, thank you. I want to come back to that, what you talked about recovering over 30 million in assets after we finish the introductions. So next up, we've got Carl Hua here. Carl, could you introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hey, everyone. I'm Carl. I'm the chief architect and the general manager of CelsiusX. I'm also a true DeFi believer, many of you probably saw my icon or lack of having a Twitter icon. That's by design. I'm very passionate in the DeFi industry, and everyone's so opinionated on Twitter. I tend to get triggered easily, so I try to stay away from Twitter. Though, why does CelsiusX exist, right? Well, coming from DeFi, if you look at this, um, there exists there exists a huge infrastructure gap to allow people to easily go into DeFi, right? Like it's great that people who are already in DeFi, we can trade, we can do lending and borrowing, and if you want to do more exotic things such as options, go for it. But it's almost as 99% of populations are not on DeFi, right? So if we truly believe in DeFi, then we need to build the infrastructure, build the bridges, make liquidity easier to access, right? So this is why CelsiusX exists, and I'm here to help Alex and Celsius, like, together with the community to make that a reality, right? So.
Awesome. Thanks for addressing that about your Twitter profile picture and about that being, by design. So I think that was actually one of my questions before we got started today. And you know what? It's really important to actually like knowing what your limits are and making sure that you take action so that you're not triggered, so that bad things don't happen. That's awesome. Thank you for addressing that. All right, Sandeep. Sandeep, thanks for being here. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello. Hi guys. Sameep this side. So I'm another co-founder of QuickSwap, and I basically handle all like tech-related stuff within QuickSwap. And I'm like really excited to see this partnership, like threefold partnership happening between CelsiusX, Polygon, and QuickSwap. Like I always used to say, at some time, like someday, someone will definitely try to bridge a gap between this centralized finance, traditional finance, and decentralized finance. And I'm like really excited to see Celsius taking that leap forward, like paving path for everyone to follow, like how these two technologies, two different domains can work together, for the benefit of the masses. So like I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, I agree. I think that that's really important. Like, there's a lot of people who use CeFi but don't use DeFi, and people who use DeFi but don't use CeFi, and it's really like both play a role in our future. So bridging the gap between those two is pretty important. And yeah, thank you, Sameep.
Nicole, I notice, and I think Seth is managing it, but so Alex's mic and Nicole, your mic are not on the Zoom that we're recording for the YouTube later, and it's making it so cameras aren't switching. Is that how it's supposed to be set up?
It is that way because I didn't know that I was hosting this before, so I didn't have my microphone set up the way that everything should be, and there's feedback if I don't do it this way.
Okay, we've got Alex unmuted now, so he'll be on the camera at least now. Okay,
no
worries. Great.
So, all right, guys. So why don't we get started? What do you think? Should we get started with some questions, from people who have requested from the audience, or would you guys like to start with a discussion?
We can start with some questions from.
I also like. I'm really
sorry about that, Sandeep.
I was on the keynote with the ETH Global Hackathon, the Road to Web3 hackathon that we are doing. With ETH Global, just finished that and rushed for the Twitter Spaces, and really excited on this, on this Twitter Spaces with the legends like Alex here, Rock and Sameep been doing crazy work with QuickSwap, and very very excited to join this discussion.
Awesome. You're the legend here, Sandeep.
Yeah, thanks so much for being here. I apologize. I added you to the conversation, but kind of forgot that you had joined by now. Thank you so much for being here.
Will he be joining the Zoom for video? We're recording this, Sandeep, for to release later on YouTube.
I believe he was sent the invitation.
I will. Let me give me like a few minutes. I'll join from Zoom also.
Sounds good.
Great. Yeah. So for everyone listening, this will be the video of this will be recorded and posted on YouTube later today. That's what we're talking about here. All right, so maybe we should start by inviting you all to introduce how this collaboration began and where you see it going.
Why don't we let Carl? You wanna talk a bit? I'm not sure everything, so we probably should have ironed out everything we're allowed to say on this call because there's a lot of steps and phases and different things that we're doing. So we'll follow Carl, your lead, and then Alex as well, and you guys can talk about what we're allowed to talk about so far.
Yeah, it's definitely better. It's definitely better that Carl starts because I tend to spill all the beans, and tell all the secrets.
Rock does that too.
Yeah. I mean, this is pretty organic, right? So when CelsiusX first started, what we did is we looked at the top 10 to 15 choices on where we should wrap the assets to, right? Well, before we even picked the chains, we kind of looked at what makes sense to wrap, right? We wanted to do primarily ERC20, but quickly realized that doesn't make a lot of sense because they already exist on Polygon and various other chains, right? Then we started looking into other blockchains, right? And we quickly found that if you think about liquidity and demand for Cardano, there's definitely demand for smart contract, right? And Cardano hasn't published their smart contract capability, right? So Cardano is primed for wrapping because there's a lot of demand. And if you think about this, blockchain is actually quite personal, right? You got Cardano holders, you got XRP holders. It's very personal to them. They love this ecosystem. They love the project, and they want to see the project succeed, right? Now, Cardano did not have smart contract at the time, and we felt, and based on data analytics and stuff, we realized, hey, there is a real demand for this, right? And we also looked at some of the other offerings, such as Dogecoin, XRP, DOT, and we believe, even though, to be very frank and upfront, is that people think Dogecoin is a meme, right? It doesn't have a lot of value. Well, it has a huge community, and coming from Celsius, it's all about this community, right? If we can give Dogecoin a use case, we can make use of this liquidity. So then we quickly realized, okay, well, let's just start with these offerings first, along with ETH. Obviously, if we're going to wrap away from Ethereum, ETH is definitely one of the top choices. And then we start looking at the blockchains and protocols, and just by very raw data, Polygon has a lot of users, right? The TVL is up there as well, but what really matters is this community, right? If you look at this community, Polygon has the most active community out of all the other blockchains, right? It's a very organic choice. And once you decided, okay, well, like Polygon makes sense, let's go talk to them. And very quickly, you're going to start looking at applications on top. And QuickSwap, it was a no-brainer because QuickSwap, it's not a sushi swap fork, right? Well, I mean, aside from the technology, it's got its own very organic community, right? When we look at QuickSwap, they're trying to get TVL and they want to bootstrap this community, and it was a pretty natural match because we're actually introducing offerings that's not available on Polygon, right? Cardano, Doge, and then of course we have ETH. So then very quickly we started talking, and with Sandeep, with Rock, it was a very organic process, right? And we quickly figured out, hey, this is a great idea. The other thing there is that if you think about Solana, they have an FTX bridge, which is the centralized bridge. That's one of the ways you bootstrap the ecosystem, right? Because without talking about some of the hacks, it's just difficult today for a lot of users to trust the decentralized bridge. So then Celsius has a backend, which is backed by one of the best custodians out there, which is Fireblocks. So our security is definitely up there, and we're able to do centralized bridging. So I think it would be at the time we're like, hey guys, this will benefit everyone, right? So that's how we formed the relationship. So I will pause and see if Rock, Alex, or Sandeep has anything else to add.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. And just to add to what Carl was saying, really the one of the reasons to work with Sandeep and the team, and again, Rock has been the beliefs, right? Joint beliefs in the principles of where we're going, and and Nicole said before, right, that there's all these clans in crypto, right? The people who want to stay pure DeFi, and the people who just want to be CeFi, and the people who just want to bring all the bad habits from TradFi, right? So the question is, where are we pulling this cart? Are we pulling it towards decentralization? Are we pulling it towards the community, or are we pulling it towards extracting as much value out of this community as possible in fees, in all the things that you're seeing happening across the industry? And one of the issues that we keep seeing again and again is that people that are trying to do layer two smart contract bridges are having consistently problems. These are only bilateral relationships, so these are two chains that are bridged together, and if something there gets hacked, basically all the assets become at risk, versus the methodology that we're using here, which we call a layer zero native minting, right? So we're basically minting an asset on Polygon, and we know that we are locking the same value on another chain, on a different chain. And again, we're using Chainlink and other oracles to verify all that information, right? So when you look at CCIP, when you look at all the stuff, we all as a group are going in the same direction, trying to create reliable and sustainable business models. Again, here, no one is charging any fees, right? If you look at what Polygon is doing, what Celsius is doing, these are all utilities, infrastructure that we're building so we can pull together different disparate liquidity pools, right? Like liquidity that is available on the Bitcoin chain, that is available on the Ethereum chain, or on the Polygon chain. Suddenly we can pool all of that together and make it seamless and available to everybody, right? So these are very important building blocks. These are the primitives that you need to be able to build on top. And then you can enable services like QuickSwap and others to continue innovate and deliver on top of that liquidity, on top of that infrastructure. Handing off the baton to Sandeep, if you want to add anything.
No, I mean, from my side, it's very clear in my mind that the next wave of DeFi growth cannot happen before without the CFI and DeFi coming together, and TradFi also, like fintechs of the world coming together. Because not every user wants to do these on-chain transactions and things like that. These remain fairly complicated. So I think what Celsius is doing is obviously really great for a large amount of community. Plus, as Carl was mentioning, that bringing in a lot of these assets which are not available on Ethereum chain, which also constitute a pretty huge multi-billion-dollar market, and making those assets available on the DeFi ecosystem is really something which can fuel the next wave of growth in DeFi. So, I'm overall very excited that Celsius has started this campaign, and especially campaign as in like this process of getting more involved in the Polygon ecosystem. I couldn't be happier and excited about this.
Yeah, it's a very bold.
I would just say just one more sentence, or before you take it over. The only guy we're missing on this call is Vitalik, because I think if you read his post, he agrees with everything we're saying. So maybe we need to send him the link and make sure that he joins and kind of helps bridge that CFI and DeFi.
All right, Vitalik, if you're out there, I'll send him an invitation. Hey, one thing that's really important that you guys really touched on is the importance of community within cryptocurrency, and really Doge having this community and actually having utility now that Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, has given it utility, right? Like now you can actually pay for not a car itself, but for some of the Tesla merchandise with Dogecoin. And he said he's declared intent to put a team of developers behind it. So there's some utility right there.
Yeah, for Doge in particular, I mean, there's been a huge need for that. The entire Doge community, they're trying hard to find utility for Doge, but to date, it's still pretty much mostly just a meme token and a community thing. And so to this as a first step in bringing some utility to Doge is pretty amazing to see. I think there'll be a lot of Doge community supporters that will be very happy with this. And I mean, same with Cardano. Their community has been waiting for DeFi for a long time now. But yeah, I think it's really bold what Celsius is doing. I think, some people would maybe think that, as a centralized exchange, why would you want to, introduce your people to DeFi? And what if they, go use DeFi instead of your exchange? But that's just the wrong way to think. Just point blank period. All the big exchanges are realizing this, and a lot of them are kind of behind on the game. Celsius is really paving the way here. Binance did a good amount of it too, with what they're doing with Pancake and their Binance Smart Chain. But Celsius is really making bold moves by giving the consumer what they want, and the consumer wants to have their fiat on ramp and off ramp through Celsius. Their staking and earning rewards there, and all of their other great features, but also be able to play in DeFi and do things on Polygon, like gaming and all the other great features on Polygon. So I think providing your customer the best possible experience and giving them optionality is the best way to keep a loyal customer, and Celsius sees that. Coinbase is getting ready to do a lot of this stuff. They're moving a little slow, but that'll be great when they start integrating DeFi with Polygon as well. But yeah, Celsius is making bold moves and moving quickly to be ahead of everyone.
We're 560 people on this Twitter Spaces. Please invite everybody who's listening to share, so we can get as many people to learn about this amazing innovation. And so please share, like, and make sure you bring your friends into this chat as well.
And,
hey, yeah, everyone share. I invited Elon and Vitalik both to speak, by the way.
Did you tell Elon we have some fun Doge news for him?
I did.
Okay, so why don't we haven't actually talked a lot about the details of this on this call. So we have released some like teaser blogs, and we've been teasing the public a lot. So maybe we can go over, including what we've already told the public, and maybe some more on what we're going to be doing here. So.
Yeah, in fact, I have a tweet ready for when we do have a big announcement coming up today. So I have a tweet prepared we'll be putting out when that happens.
I'm not even sure which one that is, but I know we've been discussing a lot of things we were thinking about exposing on this call. So we'll just follow Nicole's lead on that one. But
they didn't trust me, so they didn't give me any of the news. So I have no idea. We need to ask Carl. What's going on, Carl?
Yeah, Carl, lead us out, and then Sandeep after him.
So I guess, Carl, can we? I'll let you go, Carl. What are we allowed to talk about here?
Pretty much everything. I mean, website, it's CelsiusX.io. You go on that website, you can pretty much find everything that we're doing. We've got the proof of reserve stood up, so you're able to see the offering that we have, right? The initial 3 tokens or coins that we're wrapping, they're ETH, Cardano, and Doge. By the way, for those of you that are listening, please consider depositing Doge into Celsius. So when we launch in late February, you guys will be able to wrap on day one. And we're also we have partnership, right? We're partners in this case. There are going to be multiple liquidity pools stood up on QuickSwap on Polygon, and there will be, I would say, ample liquidity for us to trade, and you're able to wrap. So one of the things that's interesting, I don't think I took for granted, was that if you think about token wrapping today, for example, wrap.com offers token wrapping, right? But it's not retail friendly, meaning once you get the wrap token, you're not able to transfer it back to native, right? And that's not very grassroots friendly, in my opinion. If we're really truly for the community, then I would argue any retail that comes to Celsius, they should be able to wrap and unwrap, right? So Celsius, for engineering from Celsius, we've built an infrastructure. So what that looks like really is you're able to deposit Cardano, Doge, and ETH, and you're able to wrap and unwrap in real time. So it's 100% liquid, right? And also it's 100% transparent because we're actually locking up ETH into something called Enzyme Vault, which is on Ethereum, and you're able to see our collateral ratio, right? Minimally, it's going to be 1-to-1. We're probably going to have tons of surplus. Same thing with Cardano. We worked with Chainlink to do proof of reserve, so all the Cardano are locked up. So is Doge, right? So it's a pretty comprehensive system in which allows retail users to wrap and unwrap in real time. And Rock and Alex and Sandeep, feel free to add to this, and also happy to answer any questions we have.
Yeah, and Sandeep, really quick, I see Sandeep, you DM'd me. I DM'd you the Zoom link so you could join. But go ahead, Alex.
No, I was just about to say that Carl left the best news for me, I guess, because there's no fees. There's no we're not charging anything for this. On top of it, we're actually paying your withdrawal fees. When you want to pull out your contributed Cardano or Ethereum, Celsius pays your withdrawal fees, the gas fees themselves, over the chain, so you can get it back for free. So there's no service like this anywhere in crypto. As you know, if using BitGo, for example, to wrap Bitcoin, they charge you hefty fees, and you have gas fees on top of it, and so on. So we want to eliminate all these barriers. We want to eliminate, basically, again, create as much liquidity as possible. And these assets pay yield on Celsius. If you, including Doge, by the way. So if you push your assets into Celsius, even while you're waiting for Carl to press the launch button at the end of February, you'll be earning yield all that time. And again, you can then take the wrapped asset at the end of the month and start using it on different platforms, and we'll be providing pairs and liquidity, so these assets could be utilized in all the different amazing DeFi infrastructure things that are being developed.
Sorry, one more thing I forgot to mention is that the Chainlink Proof of Reserve system is not just for show, right? We've integrated with them at the smart contract level, meaning that we are holding ourselves accountable. At the code level, the smart contract wrap token deployed on Polygon, we're physically not able to mint more than the collateral, right? So if we try to mint more than the collateral, it will reject, and we won't be able to print money. Today, it's just largely one way. In the future, we'll enable something called isomorphic proof of reserve, meaning we won't be able to withdraw from the enzyme vault until we meet the collateralization ratio, right? So I think for those of you that are DeFi native, I think it's huge because I personally have never seen a system that holds people holds projects to this level of accountability, right? So.
And I think we are launch partners on this with Chainlink, right? We are the first one to launch proof of reserves. To tell me if I'm correct.
Yeah, they do have proof of reserves, but it was used in a very boring way. And for the first time, we're using this in the intended way, right? So it's huge for Chainlink.
All right. So Sandeep, where are we going from here? Come on, tell us. People want to know how are we? They want to know how we're going to the moon. Where is the bridge to the moon? You know.
Yeah,
Build a bridge
you
to the moon.
you don't need a bridge to the moon. Like you can't go with a bridge. You need a rocket ship like Celsius to go to the moon. And I think for us the most important thing in this now huge DeFi ecosystem that we have is more institutional liquidity. And like I mean, as I said that at the start of the discussion, that I feel that's the next wave of growth for DeFi. And what you guys are doing, and I'm very happy that we are doing this together. And this should be really really big on that sense. Apart from that, like I think I mean, even from the audience, if people are building neo banks and fintech applications wherein they would want their users to have exposure into DeFi, get them the DeFi yields and things like that. Do reach out to us. We are very kind of in fact aggressively helping the projects to do that all across the world, because the fiat on ramps need localized geography specific solutions. So anybody who's doing anything on the fintech side, and then wants to integrate with DeFi, do reach out to us. Apart from that, like I think one important benefit of Polygon's DeFi ecosystem is that it's pretty huge, in the sense that every DeFi protocol on Ethereum that today is available on Polygon. So if you are building your application on Polygon, not only you get the benefit of the low gas fees and the large number of users by DAU, the daily average users, and the total number of unique addresses available on Polygon. They are like I think the highest compared to any other blockchain that you create. So you might want to see. So basically, what I mean to say is that you get this large network effect. So if you are building anything on Polygon, you get this large network effect, large access to this user community. But not only that, like even in DeFi, the new use cases are coming in where you are able to integrate DeFi into NFT ecosystem, for example, right? And for that also, like in NFTs, I think it's like the NFT ecosystem on Polygon is completely unparalleled. Like even though the entire DeFi is on Polygon, but NFT is like next level. So if people are trying to do or explore use cases where NFTs can be integrated into Polygon, or their in NFTs can be integrated into the DeFi solutions, that could also be pretty big. And apart from that, like I think institutional liquidity with like as what we are working with you guys, Alex and Carl. That institutional liquidity is one growth frontier that we are exploring, and we are trying to work with as many partners. I mean, you guys are also introducing a lot of partners to us in that sense. And we want to grow that ecosystem very heavily, especially in the first half of this year. So that's the rocket ship for me.
You didn't mention gaming
Yeah.
on
I mean NFT. When
on
I say
Polygon.
NFT, yeah. When I said NFT, I meant NFT gaming ecosystem. Like that's completely unparalleled. We have like probably 500 to 1,000 games now, like compared to some of the other even layer ones, which might have a very large mind space, but we would have like orders of magnitude, like not like higher than them, orders of magnitude higher than them, right? So that whole ecosystem is waiting for anything that you guys are building, like anybody in the audience is building,
There actually
or
is
anybody.
someone with crazy game NFTs in his name. Maybe I should invite that person up onto stage to ask his question because he's requested. What do you think?
For sure.
Okay,
Sure.
inviting up
And
now.
Yeah, Sandeep. I mean, that was something that was interesting to us at Lunar Digital Assets. When we joined, as part of the Polygon with marketing, was the gaming was that was really a good part of your guys' root and how you guys bootstrapped was with a lot of very small, kind of indie, small developer games, and then it just kept going. And I remember Stanny from Aave he mentioned that with Mark Cuban on that interview our last time that he was talking about. That was one of the things that Aave thought was really interesting was this massive community of gamers early on, and it's only gotten crazier and crazier now. It was small games to start, and then we've had everything now. You have like sandboxes here now, and Decentraland, and you got OpenSea, and all these things launching on Polygon now. And I've been telling people forever, this is the place to be for gaming. I was on a call with Yatsu from Animoca Games, and he was saying basically, most or all of the games that they're investing in and incubating, they're really making a push for Polygon now, and now you see that with Sandbox as one of their games, right?
And Rock, I mean, good that you remind us. You are like also like kind of Polygon OG, right? And you've seen because we did not have like big Silicon Valley investors to start with, right? So the top-down approach that many of these other protocols deploy, get some big applications and then the smaller ones follow. That was not
complete
an option
opposite.
for us. Yeah. So we had to do the bottom of the pyramid grind, like get the small indie games, small hackathon developers and things like that, small things to slowly move up. But then the benefit of that bottom up approach is you have a very sticky and strong community. I mean, if you see on Twitter, Polygon is regularly the top 3 most mentioned platform in all of the social analytics people do and things like that. So doing that bottom up grind has helped us to be have this very loyal and sticky community. I think that's the biggest success I think we have been able to.
Yeah, talking about community, they definitely like what you guys are talking about because we just crossed 600 people. And just to add to that, I see a lot of young entrepreneurs and they're like keep asking me like, oh, is it too late? And I'm like, too late. We just got started. What are you talking about? We're just experimenting. We're at the beginning of the experiment, right? So for all the young people on this call who are just getting introduced to all of this, again, L0, L1, L2, and they're scratching their head and they don't know what we're talking about, it's not about the tech, okay? It's about the application, it's about the innovation, it's about the community that will follow you, that will really appreciate what you build. Doesn't matter if it's an NFT or a game or a DeFi protocol or whatever, right? So the innovation, the beauty here is that this new rails, right? All these rails that we are all using to build all this infrastructure allow all of us to do things that were never available before. And most of the most successful ones are the ones that are inventing new business models, right? So Axie and again, all these models. It doesn't matter if it's gaming or DeFi or CeFi, right? Like Celsius invented a new business model, right, in paying yield, which Wall Street insisted on not doing for 100 years, right? Not paying what they earn to their community, right? Just paying it to their shareholders. So
them lending out shares, and they're making all the money from lending out these shares on the back end and all the different weird things that they're doing.
Exactly, and when they take too much risk, we bail them out. I mean, what a gig,
exactly.
So now we have an opportunity to reinvent the game and reinvent the game for the community. And if you look at the people who are focused on the community, again, Vitalik and everybody else who in their heart they're not thinking about anything else, they are the successful ones, right? So if you wanna make it, you wanna fly to the top like Sandeep or like Rock and like all the other people in this industry. Look at what these people are doing, right? They're all focused on community, on delivering, on enablement, right? Like look at Carl, right? Carl will chew you out. You start talking about how you charge fees and how you take advantage, he'll rip you into shreds on Twitter, So
yeah, that's why I don't have a Twitter icon, right?
So So it's no surprise that we're all getting together and we're creating new capabilities because we all believe in the same principles. Also, the innovation on QuickSwap, where basically, again, part of the proceeds are going to basically buy the token and enable the community, is definitely something that is exciting and people should follow. And I talk about it all the time in my MAs, like, copy our business model. We invite you, please. We want you to copy the Polygon business model, the Celsius business model, the QuickSwap business model. Please do not bring bad habits from TradFi. Please. That's the only thing we're asking you not to do.
Yeah, it's great that everything we're doing, the cost is all trending to zero. That's what digital does. Andreessen Horowitz said, software is eating the world, and Sandeep on our Mark Cuban interview said, blockchain is eating software. Yeah, so we saw it with music and with video content. These are all trending towards zero. I mean, you could watch 100 movies on Netflix for $10 a month. I mean, it's essentially almost free, right? And if you really want to watch them for free, you can find them online for free. And that's what we're doing with all this. We had on Ethereum, gas fees were high. Polygon helped alleviate that as a release valve, bringing, penny or sub penny, trades. So that's trending the gas fees to zero. You guys, Alex, are now just subsidizing and paying the fee for your own, all your users to be able to use these bridges. You guys provide, the staking, and I don't know what percent you guys take on that. Some small percent, I'm assuming, but all these things are trending lower and lower towards zero, so that the consumer gets the benefit, and that's what QuickSwap has done too. With instead of in a normal exchange, the owners get the benefits. We, like you mentioned, if you use QuickSwap, anyone who uses it, we use the volume, the trading fees to buy back our token and distribute it to the holders. So I look at these things like a little bit similar to like credit unions, except for we don't need an office building. We don't need, thousands of employees. We could digitize a large amount of this. I mean, obviously we're all here, we're people, and we're working on it, but as much as we can, digitize, as much as we can code, we're going to do that, and it's going to be beneficial to the users.
Hey, speaking of, we've all talked about the importance of community here. So maybe, there's 5 people right now who've requested to speak. Maybe we should invite a few of those people up to ask their questions. And then I've got a few more that we can talk about.
Yeah, definitely. And then after that, I'll ask Carl some more things if we're allowed to talk about. There's a couple of things a bunch of things we haven't mentioned, and also would like to know more from Alex and Carl about the future of this, and other assets you guys will be doing this with, and more. But yeah, go ahead, Nicole. You have some questions for us.
Sounds good. Okay, so Mohit Agadi, you are now a speaker. If you'd like to unmute your mic and ask your question or make your statement.
Hi guys. Quick question. So recently, Polygon has welcomed Uniswap V3, right? Do you think that will be affecting QuickSwap in any way in terms of new user acquisition or something like that?
So I think, obviously it's competition, but I think in this whole thing, we should welcome competition. They've got, an interesting technology with their V3. V2 is clearly here to stay, though, as you can see on ETH layer 1. V2 is huge and more liquidity than V3 still, I don't know what, 6 or 9 months later. So there's benefits to both. And there's a lot of things you can build on top of V2 that you really can't with the way that V3 works. And so I think there's room for both. I think it's great. And I think they're bringing over tons of new users to the Polygon ecosystem, which is great for Polygon, which is great for us, which is great for the whole community. So we welcome V3. And, but QuickSwap is going to continue to innovate and carve our place in the sand. We've got a ton of new features that I don't think I'm allowed to talk about here yet, but we will be releasing very soon, that are basically going to take advantage. So V3, it has benefits, but it's generally bad for the liquidity providers unless you're really dialed in. It's more for providing liquidity for like institutions who can really manage it closely and actively manage their liquidity. And I saw a study that I think it was like 50% or more of LPs on V3 lose money. So it's not very good for the LPs. It's good for traders. It's not good for LPs. So what we want to do now is take advantage of the fact that we've got, 10 times or more the TVL as them, and use that liquidity to build new things. So I'm trying to think of what I'm allowed to talk about. I'll try to be general, but you could imagine building, I don't know what I'm allowed to say here, but so there's different kinds of borrowing and lending and other features that you could build utilizing our utility, our TVL, our liquidity. So we have this huge untapped liquidity that's being used for trading right now, but there's so much more that we can use it for and kind of double up on its use. So similar to how we've done where you can earn, SURUP on top of our trading fees for Dragon's Lair, we're going to double up now on the TVL and use it for other unique things, which will really make QuickSwap unique in that regard. So we have a ton of new things being built. We're going to talk about a lot of these soon, very soon, but I don't want to spill too much here. We've got enough to talk about with this current partnership. But yeah, we welcome V3.
Did that answer your question, Mohit?
Yeah, thanks for answering that. That's fantastic. Personally, we're a big fan of QuickSwap.
Thank you so much for your support.
All right, I'm going to remove you from the speakers so that we can invite someone else. Thanks for your question. All right, so actually now, before I invite the next person up to ask their question, it feels like it's a good time for Sandeep, Rock. I know Rock is like trying really hard to be restrained here, but with this, with everything that was just
I always
said,
get in trouble.
Yeah.
Nicole's gonna yell at me after if I say
I'm not. I think Sandeep will. But
Sandeep, maybe, yeah.
Anyway, Sandeep, would you like to make the announcement, our big QuickSwap announcement here?
Yeah, definitely. I was waiting for it for a long time, right? So I think like in the entire community, in the entire ecosystem, everyone has been waiting for the new UI, right? And we are going through that meme of soon swap, right? So I have heard this word soon swap a lot of times, guys. So like yeah, we are definitely sorry for all the delays and stuff happening around the UI. But today we officially release the code base of our new interface. So we are not releasing our like any interface on the production yet, right? Because we want you guys, like the community, like as Alex said, it's not about the technology, it's all about the community, it's all about the use case and the business plan around it, right? So we are launching the code base, the technology behind our new interface, and we want you guys to look into it and to find out some maybe issues, some bugs in it, give us some suggestions, feedbacks, improvements, like whatever you guys feel like you want to tell us or like convey to us. So we are going to release our repositories now, like for the interface, and within a week's time we will launch the alpha. Meanwhile, we are also like going forward with the audits, like not a smart contracts audit, but we are doing front end audits, because over the time we have realized that it's not just the smart contracts which are vulnerable, it's front end as well, right? Somebody can get into your front end code as well, and that is we have seen that happening in the past with some of the DeFi protocols out there. Some of the hacks have happened just because of the front end. So we have realized that it's very important to have front end audits as well, right? So we are actually under the process right now, and once the audit is completed, we have fixed all the bugs issues suggested by the auditor, then we will move to beta. And for a few weeks we'll stay in beta, like gather more community feedback, make some improvements, and then we'll finally move to production. But for now, like the good news is we are finally like open sourcing our the UI repository, the new UI, not the old one.
Woo! and
Yeah.
I've just tweeted that announcement, and with it, there's a video of a teaser of our new UI in there, showing off all of the cool features. And with that, just invited an LDA's chief strategy officer, Ronald Amaya.
AKA Aztec.
Yep.
Or Crypto Secret Circle on Twitter.
All the names.
Hey guys.
Hey, Ash.
I had a question for Alex here with CelsiusX. I'm wondering, and hello everyone. It's an amazing panel here. So I'm wondering, with for XRP holders, will XRP holders in the U.S. be able to utilize CelsiusX and gain yields? I think a lot of people want to know that.
Yeah, so for some of you who don't know, Carl actually came from XRP. He used to be their one of their top architects. And so the issue with XRP is really on the legal side, right? It's XRP versus SEC, and we are working on enabling accredited investors to maybe do something. So that's the next step. So what we have to wait and see what comes first: us finishing the accessibility to accredited, or XRP and SEC settle or resolve the issues, and hopefully again we can open it up back to everybody. So, as you know, Celsius is one of the more conservative groups out there. For example, we're probably one of the last people to add Luna to U.S. users tomorrow. We got in love with that to the U.S. Community. But our job is to protect the pool, the basket of the community, to make sure that one incident or one problem does not rattle the cage and disable us from continuing to provide yield and other things. So XRP is just a very hairy situation right now. It's not clear who's going to win. It's not clear what the ruling is going to be, right? What changes we going to need to introduce. So that's why we basically paused the yield payment. But the minute there's clarity, we're going to support that decision and hopefully again enable it for all Americans.
Awesome.
Will you guys ever create a wrapped version of XRP for Polygon and for DeFi in general?
Yeah, I can take this one, Alex. That's certainly a possibility. As a matter of fact, Alex just mentioned I used to work for Ripple, so we have a very good connection with Ripple. We generally would like to see that type of offering, right? And due to the litigation, we're on pause for now, but hopefully in the near future we'll have some clarity there. Don't get me wrong, XRP is one of the most liquid cryptocurrency out there, right? So it makes tons of sense to do that.
Yeah, I saw Binance recently saying that they're doing like a custodial version of wrapped XRP. So I was wondering if that was going to be utilized at some point.
So again, bridging the XRP community, the XRP liquidity with Polygon, for example, is good for Polygon and good for XRP, right? So people have to understand, again, the analogy here is that right now everybody builds their own blockchain, their own castle, and they're all trying to invite everybody to come and live in their castle. And what we're trying to do here, if you look at what we're building, it's all roads and bridges that bridge all of these different blockchains to work together seamlessly, to have this liquidity and use cases be seamlessly available across all the chains. So we are sometimes we're being held up by technical issues, sometimes it's regulation, but we're breaking through all those walls, right? So you can see Celsius and our partners releasing stuff consistently, and then people come and build on top of it. So we definitely, XRP is one of the chains that we definitely looking to bridge.
Are you guys able to talk about any of the next assets that you're going to be adding to this list of wrapped wrapped stuff that we can start using on DeFi that isn't, because there's a lot of tokens out there that, are on their own chains that are not usable on Ethereum or Polygon. So I think I can't believe that this market is not fully cornered yet, that there's still so much room here to capture utility and give utility to the community. But curious if you guys can talk about any of the next assets you're going to be doing this with.
Yeah, so generally, like I described, how Cardano, Doge, and ETH were decided, right? We look at community data, we look at trends, and also we look at liquidity, right? And in this particular case, I think once we land the first set of offering, we're going to look to expand very quickly. And again, like what you described, Alex, we're not a top-down company, right? We're grassroots. So it would be really good to hear from the community, from the QuickSwap community, Polygon community, obviously Celsius community. More importantly, communities from all over the blockchain world, right? Like what are the tokens we should be wrapping? Generally, we largely depend on largely it depends on the liquidity and some of the other aspects, such as is this community friendly, right? We obviously don't want to bridge some assets that people don't want in the first place. So that's kind of the general framework. We're still doing research at this point. We don't have very concrete expansion plan at this time, but because we've taken from 0 to 1 after February, right? So we essentially have the entire infrastructure built. So going forward, it will be much faster. So, waiting to hear back from the community what your thoughts are.
And just to add to that, a very important element, Carl has a very unique capability in his hand that no one else has, right? And that's called GK8. So we have our own custodian in addition to Fireblocks. So if you have a project that is not supported by Fireblocks and you want to join this and you have a very strong use case, come talk to us, right? We can list it on GK8 instead of Fireblocks and basically launch it on CelsiusX. Because normally right now you will need to be supported by one of the main custodians, and right now there's a huge waiting list, right? So Carl has a magic wand that can get you to the front of the line if you convince him that you really have something special.
That's important. Sorry. So I was just going to say that we should probably invite someone else up to speak because there are several speakers who are waiting right now. So I'm going to remove Aztec.
Thank you, everyone.
For your question.
Thank you.
Thanks, Aztec. And then after that, I'd like to ask Celsius if they're able to talk about some of the either liquidity that they'll be seeding this with, or if we can talk about incentives. But we'll take some questions first and let you guys think about how much we could say there.
Sorry about that. Mech.eth, you are now invited. You are now added as a speaker. You can unmute and ask your question or speak as soon as you're able. Yeah, definitely, Rock. That's something we should come back to.
Hey, thanks for inviting me up. So I popped in the room. I was in another space yesterday where one of the folks on the team was present, and I think there were some folks from Bazinga talking about some of the other protocols. So I'm just trying to get up to speed to what Celsius is adding to the existing protocol, and then if you could speak about what some of the other protocols are doing. I'm curious because I don't know if anyone in this room knows, but about a month ago, I started doing this every Sunday from this first Sunday 4 weeks ago, holding sort of like an open town hall. I'm part of the NFT community, pretty much operating as an educator, but coming from more creative background, so thinking a lot about what folks who are creatives need in terms of tools. And the discussion was around the dependency on OpenSea in the Ethereum network and what it would look like for the folks in the space to start to think about more decentralized marketplaces and what it would look like to spin one up. And there was a large discussion. It was 18 hours in a Twitter space. It was 31,000 people in and out, many voices, many opinions, and Polygon came up quite a few times. So we're having the infrastructure conversation. People are sort of hashing out the scalability, the transactions per second. I'm not a technical person. I'm operating in this space as like a problem solver who just wants to see things being done. So I've been taking it upon myself to head up these conversations. But yeah, if you could shed some light on what Celsius is adding in terms of the existing protocol, and maybe some ideas about what the other chains that you're going to roll out can provide. I just want to get better optics on what the conversation of infrastructure looks like for us to be building.
Carl, you want to take it since you're in the weeds?
Yeah, sure. So if you look at these blockchain ecosystems, essentially you have EVM compatible, you have Polkadot, you have Cosmos, and of course you have Solana as its own kind of ecosystem. They're kind of segregated at this point. You can more or less look at these ecosystems as their own universe, right? Even for EVM compatible, such as Polygon, Avalanche, Phantom, and it's not a good feeling when they're so segregated, right? So we do have some very primitive infrastructure today, which are decentralized bridges, and we're seeing castles have been built by centralized exchanges. The whole idea of CelsiusX is to reduce the friction in which liquidity is able to move, right? So, for example, if you want to go from Ethereum to Polygon, or you want to go from Cardano to Polygon and participate in DeFi, first of all, it's not possible today to go from Cardano to Polygon, right? So what Celsius is doing is we are creating that infrastructure layer so that will enable applications to be built on top that allows the mechanizations of these assets. That's for, and it sounds like you are from the NFT community. ERC20 is created first. Those are the tokens, and then ERC 721, ERC 1155. Those are NFT standards. Today, for NFTs, people are not thinking about it yet, right? It's still largely segregated. If you created your NFT on Ethereum, the chances are you're not going to be able to move it anywhere else, and that just doesn't make any sense from a capital efficiency, market dynamics perspective, right? I foresee one day that you should be able to move your NFT from Ethereum to Polygon without worrying about anything, but clicking a button, right? So that's essentially what CelsiusX is doing, where we're creating that infrastructure to allow liquidity to move more freely.
Okay, great. And then,
does that help?
Yeah, it does. Just a follow up with so I do understand that there is some way to move Polygon NFTs to the Ethereum chain, and it's a little clunky. Does the solution or the bridge that you're building have any consideration for the gas? Like how does it look from somebody who owns an NFT in the Ethereum network wanting to essentially move it into the Polygon network in the future, and like is that addressed? Because I think one of the bigger issues is how cost prohibitive gas can be in transacting, right? So as I'm focused on onboarding people, I'd like to give them many options, considering not everyone comes from the same amount of disposable income and are willing to pay the hundreds of dollars that gas can be sometimes. So yeah, just curious if that's something that you're looking at solving for, or what that looks like. I think we've all on the Ethereum network been waiting for layer 2, and I don't know when that's coming, right? So when are we doing in the interim, I guess is the question. And from the perspective of you guys being one of the premier layer 2 roll up solutions, like, yeah, is that something you're focused on or thinking about?
Yeah, so aside from NFT, because it's still a little early, we're pretty much focused on ERC20s and the other coins, right? And gas fee really is people think high gas fee is problematic, but from philosophical perspective, the high gas fee on Ethereum is its feature, right? And I know it's not retail friendly anymore at this point. So for Celsius, we don't charge fees. So the only fee that you will need to pay is the deposit fee into Celsius, right? And all withdrawal to Polygon will be completely free.
Okay, yeah, that's.
And is this working for NFTs, or is that in the plans, or?
I think in the distant future, but again, distant future in DeFi is not distant at all, right? So I think cross-chain NFT is something that we should definitely be looking at. And as a matter of fact, Celsius is hosting an NFT hackathon in Serbia, first March. So we're definitely thinking about it.
Are there NFTs on Celsius now? I actually don't know.
Celsius,
yeah,
Celsius owns NFTs as a participant in the market, but we currently don't offer loans against it or, or custody or anything like that. And so we'll be announcing something in the next few weeks about NFTs. We don't have, unfortunately, not ready with the announcement today, but it's a big announcement about what we're doing in the space. So that will be later on in February. It will be competing with Carl going live with his CelsiusX. So, so it's Carl versus NFTs. That's where we are.
Thanks, Alex.
All right, Mech.eth, I hope that answered your question. Thanks for coming up.
Yeah, and thanks, Mech, for helping educate people on all these things and onboarding new users. It's great to see. We've got such a strong community in crypto, ETH, Polygon, Celsius. They're all all three hugely community-oriented projects and companies.
So just invited up Anuj.web3 to speak.
After this, we should finish anything else we want to talk about that we're allowed to talk about here, because Carl does have a hard cutoff soon. So we'll take this question and we'll speak a little more about what we're going to be doing, and then we can take tons of questions.
Okay, sounds good. Anuj, you were invited to speak. It says connecting. I guess. Oh, now he's fallen off. Let's wrap up with Carl, and then we'll invite up the next speakers.
Yep. So any other announcements for Celsius? Because I got to drop off as well. Not sure if there was anything else that we wanted to talk about.
Why don't we? So, are you guys able to talk about? Let's see. Why don't we start with? Are you guys able to talk about how much you're going to be seeding to this? Because the number is quite large.
Yeah. So the whole idea of what are we going to do with the wrap tokens once people wrap these, right? Obviously, we're a partnership here. We're standing up pools. And aside from just having partnership, I think the most important part is that we need to have sufficient liquidity so that the community is able to trade and so forth, right? With that said, Celsius will be bootstrapping these liquidity pools initially in terms of north of $100 million, right? So it will be distributed into multiple pools. The idea here is that, hey guys, if you're wrapping the tokens, we need a place for you guys to play with them, right? But it's a dynamic scale, right? Meaning, hey, we're looking at these pools. We definitely want to be the single dominant player in these pools. So as we gain traction, we're going to be pulling out liquidity so that we can have a very, very organic ecosystem, right? And again, just like decentralization is a multidimensional effort, right? This process will take time, and the more attraction we get, the less of a dominant player role that we will have to play. So that's the landscape.
But starting around 100 million plus.
Right.
Hey, further, are we allowed to talk about Celsius's intent to stake their LP tokens from seeding the liquidity for the several pools?
Yeah, so basically, you guys will be putting, say, 100 million plus onto QuickSwap, which will be huge, to bootstrap this so that there's very little slippage and plenty of liquidity for both small and large traders. And then by doing that, you'll receive a portion of the trading fees, but then the next step will be incentives. And I think Nicole's question there, if I'm correct, is will you guys be LPing, locking that into to collect rewards, or will you be leaving that to the public? And then also, how much rewards will we be giving for this? Because this is going to be, again, I don't know if we're allowed to say this. I think maybe, but it'll be a three-way thing where Polygon, Celsius, and QuickSwap will all be contributing 7 figures plus each. So I don't know what you want to say there, Carl.
Yeah. So we are jointly incentivizing the pools, right? And again, the idea here is that we want to attract retail adoption. So when you come to the pools, you should definitely stake your tokens. And as far as whether Celsius will be staking the LPs, it's a dynamic scale, right? As we know, when we drop in these liquidities, there are impermanent loss occurred, and on the back end, we're actively monitoring the pools. We're doing calculations. We're very responsible to our users' funds. So we definitely don't want to we definitely don't want to lose out because of the impermanent loss. But again, the idea here is that we want to be completely reasonable. We want to make sure there's sufficient rewards. I anticipate the APY will be quite high for pools that are similar to these pools, and as we gain traction, as we gain adoption, we will start pulling back on the liquidity. So,
and the amount of rewards we're giving to this is going to be between the teams is going to be more than the entire. I think more than the entire rewards we give currently for QuickSwap. So it's a huge number.
right.
Are we able to say that number? That
I think
that we're all doing. I think.
Alex, do you want to take that? Alex, do you have that number?
They don't tell me anything anymore. So you're the rainmaker, Carl.
All right,
100 million here, 100 million there. Just what's the number?
Yeah, well, it's we are giving out total rewards of $10 million over the course of 6 months.
This is massive. I mean, so not only will you guys be seeding 100 million plus, maybe even 200 million or more, depending on how this all goes. But not only will you guys be seeding that much, but we'll also be giving 10 million in rewards, which will bring, I don't know how much from the community and other institutions and other, whales and big players. But I mean, that's huge. If you look at, for example, what when Aave came to Polygon, Aave, I think Matic gave them. I don't remember the number actually. I think it was somewhere between 5 and 10 or 15 million, and that, I mean, they were quickly able to bootstrap to like, I don't want to get people's hopes up, but I think they were able to bootstrap to like close to 10 billion pretty quickly. I'm not saying we're going to get there, but I mean, 10 million in rewards is a massive number. I mean, Celsius and Polygon and QuickSwap are really not messing around here. We really want to make sure this thing is huge. So this is going to be probably the biggest partnership in the history of QuickSwap, I think, in terms of rewards and liquidity. This is going to be massive, and it's going to be great for the community, great for the Celsius community, great for QuickSwap, great for Polygon. I mean, bridging CeFi and DeFi is just so important. It's something that's needed to be done, and we're doing it. So, and kudos to you guys for helping lead this charge, Celsius guys.
Thank you for your support, Rock.
Yeah, and just to mention that we'll be adding additional assets, right? So it's not just adding liquidity with the existing stuff, but also adding many new assets that were never available before, as well as adding liquidity on existing assets. But depending on what people want to transact on, we'll make sure that, again, Celsius has $20 billion of liquidity, so we're obviously would love to put that to use. And as long as we can do it in a safe way where everybody benefits from it, then a lot of that is available to scale the solution.
Awesome.
All right, I know everybody has limited time this morning. There's several requests to speak. I'm not sure if we want to say anything before I know Alex and Carl have to jump off at the very least. I'm not sure what everybody's time looks like.
I can stay on for a bit and answer questions.
Yeah, I apologize. I do have to drop. So,
yeah, so again,
guys, even I have to drop.
So
Right.
thanks to Sandeep and Carl and Mark and everybody else who worked really hard on this. I know our team has been working weekends and making sure that everything launches perfectly. So again, I think part of the strength of this partnership is also the commitment of everybody who's working on this to deliver clean code and perfect execution. So again, if you see any bugs or if you know of anything that you think is a threat to this launching successfully, we do have white hat bounties. So come reach out to us and we'll reward you for telling us where we forgot something. All right.
And also, before you guys hop up, I'll just give a little shout out to Arbin Kane for helping facilitate this. Good friend of Alex and mine for many years. So thanks, Arbin, for your help in facilitating this.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. Thanks everyone. See you soon.
Thanks, Alex. You're a legend,
Everyone,
man.
thank you. Bye.
And Sandeep too. Thanks, brother.
All right.
Thanks, Carl.
So we still have Rock and Sandeep on. If anybody who has requested has questions or comments for them, I guess I'll start to invite.
Why don't we bring up is Tyler or Bryant? I think I see them here in the audience. From they work on QuickSwap listings and syrup and a lot of BD stuff.
Sure. I just invited up Tyler, and I am now looking for Bryant. Bryant, if you see this or if you hear me, please request to speak because that will be faster. Oh, there, I see him. All right, I just invited Tyler and Bryant both up, and then I guess we'll start at the top of the list of people who have requested. Chainlink Retriever, you are added to the speakers. Chainlink Retriever, we're waiting for your question.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. Sorry about that. Is anybody on from CelsiusX? Is the CelsiusX team on?
I think they had to drop off. There may be some people in the audience. I'll check our chat with them maybe, and if there's anyone there that wants to.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
Hop in. But what was your?
Yeah, you guys had mentioned running a Chainlink node, and I was wondering if you guys had a target launch date for that.
I don't know the answer to that. Let's see if anyone I'll message our group and see if there's anyone. Anyone from CelsiusX in the audience who can answer questions? We might have to come back to that one.
Yeah, we may have to defer, or you may need to hold this question for when Celsius does another one of their AMAs, which they do all the time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'll leave Chainlink Retriever as the speaker, and I will add another speaker, and that is Anuj Web 3.0. You are now invited to speak. Anuj, if you'd like to unmute your microphone.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me. So my question is regarding again, like when I was using OpenSea and I was switching my NFT to Polygon chain from Ethereum chain to Polygon chain, right? And then I was trying to switch that, and what I was getting the notification is $150 in gas fee, like for a $50 bucks of NFT that I wanted to sell, right? I collected one NFT and I wanted to sell that, and then again for that I've been asked to pay $150 for a $50 of NFT. So is this sort of like multi-chain sort of a platform that you guys are creating? Is this going to solve this problem, right?
So the bridging fees right now are a result of high gas fees on Ethereum.
Right.
So when you bridge something over between chains, that's Ethereum gas fees. So the way that would be resolved through bridging would be for NFT bridges from CelsiusX, which they've said maybe in the distant future, but that would be like distant future for DeFi. We're unsure of the timeline.
Okay, fair enough. So if I am just sort of like I'm building something over Polygon, right? I just want to mint my NFT over Polygon, and that I want to sell that on suppose Celsius network, right? So then again, that I'll be paying for the switch fee.
So I think we might need someone from Celsius to be more clear on the answer here again. But from what I'm understanding, we're unsure of exactly how that will work because it's something that is on the horizon, but not immediately.
Okay, the fair enough. So the last question is like, is the fees going down? Like the gas fee is going down because of the bridge collaboration between like three of you, and what I believe in like initially when I'm seeing that like from Ethereum to Polygon, the fees like the fee has gone down tremendously, right? So what I believe that this is the sort of like scalability when it comes to multi-chain or the bridge when it comes to selling or minting NFTs, right? So what I believe that this is sort of a kind of an initiative that going to get the NFT market, NFT community is going to get sort of a boost because the fee is going to down when it comes to multi platform selling or minting of NFTs, or when it comes to the bridge, right? So you're creating a bridge over chains, right?
Rock or Sameep or Tyler or Bryant, if you'd like to jump in here, maybe that would be helpful. I think it's difficult to answer.
I'm chatting with the community in our Telegram right now. My apologies.
I think it is that it's difficult to answer that question because we're talking about things that have not yet been developed yet, and we're not in. We can't like give finite answers for how things are going to work when we don't know the answers yet. I mean, the fees.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I believe in that this is again that you guys are solving a problem when it comes to like we are right now what I am observing, like I'm continuously following the whatever is happening over OpenSea, right? So whenever I just trying to mint any NFT, or just I want to collect one NFT and want to sell it back, then what I am facing is a higher gas fee. Is this you guys are going to resolve, or what sort of a problem are you going to solve through this initiative?
So I think what you're talking about is basically transfer of assets from one chain to another chain, right?
Yes,
So
you're right.
right. So right now, like as Alex said in his, while speaking about this, so I think they're going to launch something in NFT space right now as well, right? So we are not solving, like QuickSwap is not solving any bridge issues, right? Bridge in itself, it's altogether a bigger issue, I would say, right? And which is definitely needed for multi-chain future as well, right? And like bridges are of utmost important. Like it's more important than the layer two solution, like the chain itself, because all the funds are being handled by those is being handled by the bridge basically, right? It stays in the bridge contract. So if anything goes wrong, the funds are lost. So for now, I think what Celsius X is solving, it's a DeFi problem, right? So they're offering you a bridge, and as Alex said, withdrawal on that bridge will be free of cost. The cost will be beared by the Celsius X network, right? I'm not sure, like, even if it's going to happen for the perpetuity, or like it's for a few months or like couple of years. That I'm not sure about. Like that is something which Celsius or Celex team can answer. But like this is what they are trying to solve in DeFi, right? So what we are trying to solve through this partnership is basically bridging this gap between the CFI, TradFi, and decentralized finance, right? So like trying to make these three different kind of finances like and merge them into one, like which is called a finance. So I think like financial revolution is going to happen, not the DeFi revolution, right? And that's what we are trying to solve, right? We are trying to merge all these different domains into one larger domain, right? So we're not talking about NFTs here, but maybe in future we'll have certain, like maybe Celsius or someone else will have very similar kind of bridges for NFTs as well.
Yeah,
But
and
that's not happening right now.
Thanks. Yeah.
wrapping is one of those things where we're trying the industry is trying to invent a way to do it in a decentralized way, and there are some either bridges that are more and less decentralized, and there's more that are centralized. But I think we've seen so far the answer to a lot of these wrapping and bridging things is having some level of centralization until we can solve that computer science problem. And so for now, having Celsius, who is a relatively trusted party in the industry and is a long track record and can be trusted, as far as we know so far, I think it's great that they're doing this. And you're going to have look at what are the biggest wrapped tokens? I mean, wrapped Bitcoin is centralized. It's by BitGo, but it's the biggest wrap token there is. So I think there is a need for it. I'm a hardcore decentralized guy myself, and I know Alex is as well. But we do need to find a way to bridge these gaps and fill in the voids. And so this makes a lot of sense. I think in a dream world someday, in a utopia, we'll have fully decentralized wrapping and bridges. Everything should be moving towards fully decentralized. But this is a great way. In the meantime, it's really the only way that's actually working at scale. So I'm glad to see that Celsius is merging those two worlds.
Yeah, hey, I can. Thank you for your question, Anush. I can actually attest to that, having done a significant amount of research on keys on the centralization of bridges and how bridges are constructed. And essentially, right now, bridges have to have some level of centralization, and that's become the norm due to the requirements of being able to add new tokens or chains into the contract.
And for speed also.
Yeah, all kinds of reasons.
And ease of use, and because there's not great communication between chains yet. So there has to be, it's similar to like Chainlink and the real world. There's not great communication between, blockchains and real world, whether if you're trying to create like a futures product or insurance products for farmers, etc. So you have Chainlink that works as a way to merge those two and bring them together. And so for now we have, like for example, the Polygon bridge. You could argue that, I would say it's one of the more decentralized bridges, and it's really the safest bridge I know of. It's, I think, probably the only bridge that I have, any kind of very, large holdings on. And, it's got last I checked, I think it was 5 of 7 multisig between lots of different teams like Aave and I think Curve and QuickSwap. We hold one of the multisigs for the Polygon bridge. So there's a bunch of different, big teams holding those keys that make it safe.
Okay, guys. So I'm also going to drop off, and nice talking to you guys, and I'm really looking forward, for the feedback on the new UI.
Great, thanks, Sandeep.
So Cellcat is.
I think it's pretty late for you, right? Are you in India right now?
Yeah, I'm in India right now, so it's like too late for me.
Thanks for joining, Sandeep.
Thanks, Sandeep. So there are 6 people who are still requesting to speak. Cellcat has been added to the speakers rock. Should we wrap up with these 6 people? Would you like to, or would you like to end it now? I'm not sure. Okay.
We can answer some more questions.
Okay, so Cellcat, you can unmute and speak. I'm going to add Jonas now as well. Also, Solana Christie has been requesting this essentially this whole time, so I'm going to add him as a speaker now too.
Yeah, I was just.
You are now a speaker.
All right, thank you. But a lot of my question was
for Celsius team, but I think they're all gone. I think the only question I have for Swap, maybe you are integrating into Celsius. I don't know if you
It's
guys.
hard to hear you. Can you speak more into your mic, please?
Okay. Do you hear me now?
Yep.
All right. Yeah. A lot of question I had was for Celsius team. Yeah, I was thinking Polygon. They announced they are integrating with Polygon or something, and I was wondering how could I send my asset? It says Ethereum network, like link or something. I have different assets which I want to send from different exchange to Celsius using Polygon network. How could I do that if you guys already integrated with Celsius?
So for initially, Celsius will only be adding support for Polygon for the 3 assets they mentioned earlier, but we really can't answer a lot of questions on Celsius's behalf.
I mean, generally with any centralized exchange, I mean, you probably have a receive wallet, right? And so you would just send your assets there, but you got to make sure that you're not sending something that they don't support. So be careful with that. I think that's what he was mentioning when he said they recovered 30 million in funds. So, they're opening up their infrastructure to Polygon. I don't know which all assets they support yet, but make sure you check on that before you send anything directly there. And make sure also that if you do send it there, you're going to be able to withdraw it directly to Polygon.
So initially, the 3 assets that will be bridged are CX ADA, CX Doge, and CX ETH, and more will be added over time.
Do they have? Is there native withdrawal for like Matic? I actually don't know.
It's a good question. I am not sure. I'm sure.
The answer is no. Don't try that.
There we go.
Okay.
Thank you, Cellcat.
All right. Okay. I'm not good in this crypto thing. So did Polygon have app or something, or I don't know anything about a Polygon.
Just use MetaMask. And MetaMask. If you go to QuickSwap, QuickSwap.exchange, it'll actually help you automatically set up what's called an RPC. So you just come and you'll add the network to MetaMask. It'll do it automatically. If not, you could Google online how to add Polygon RPC. But once you do that, you would bridge any assets, any ERC20s from Ethereum to Polygon. Are you familiar with MetaMask?
Yeah, I do have MetaMask in my app wallet, like mobile iPhone.
Great.
Yeah.
So you would go to, I don't know what the new link is. It used to be wallet.matic.network/bridge. I think now it has Polygon in the name. They changed it. So just Google Polygon bridge and make sure you're using the right one. But if you have MetaMask and you're on Ethereum, it's pretty easy. It just takes not long. I think now the bridge time is like 10 minutes or something. I don't remember. I haven't used it in a while because all my stuff is on Polygon now. So you just bridge your stuff over. It's very easy process. It's literally just a couple clicks. Wait a little bit, and then once it's there, you can use MetaMask just like you use it on Ethereum, except for no gas fees, basically.
I can also answer the question of the assets if you wanted to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so currently what's supported right now on Polygon, if you wanted to transfer something that was native Polygon to the Celsius app, is Matic Polygon, Aave, Sushi, USDT, MC DAI, and USDT. And that's what's live to be transferred into the Celsius wallet. Keep in mind, if you withdraw, it is still going to be withdrawing as an ERC20 standard. That is going to be changing
so
pretty much
Ethereum
in the near future.
To Ethereum network, you're saying?
Yeah, it's still going. It's still going to be withdrawn as an Ethereum-based thing.
So you're saying that if I want to take my asset from, for example, FTX exchange to Celsius using Polygon network, so I have to choose ERC20 network. Is that what you mean? Or?
So just if you're going to withdraw, send it to a withdrawal address that's just an Ethereum-based address. That's kind of just where we're at currently with that.
Yeah, that is.
But I'm assuming they're going to be making, because they're with this partnership. The whole point is that you could withdraw things to Polygon. So I'm assuming if it's not live yet, it's going to be live very soon. Maybe that's the February.
It's
February that he was talking about.
Yeah, the only thing I want to change different network like Polygon or Solana or something, because the gas fee. That is the only thing I was like, yeah. So.
Yep, and what they're saying is that will be possible at some point in the future, but we just don't know that. Thanks for your question, Jonas.
Yes,
okay.
Thank you.
So we've got a couple of people who are now added as the speakers. Sol.Christie, you are added as a speaker. You can now speak. Pedro Busquets, you can now speak. And then I'm adding Abram 0V or Abram Ovrafi as well. So if you've got questions or comments, you can now speak. Solana Christie, Pedro Busquets.
Yeah.
And yeah, there you go.
If I can just go first, this Twitter Spaces keeps kicking me out, so I don't know why that's happening. So originally, my question was for both Polygon and Celsius, but since they're not here, I actually had another question, maybe for you, Rock. I've been onboarding quite a few people since last year, probably around July. So to make this a little easier to onboard people, a lot of people operate with apps. MetaMask, if you try to access the mobile browser, it's just not very user-friendly. Is an app for QuickSwap coming, or is that something that you guys are thinking of?
It's something that we're talking about. I think I don't know everything on the interface side, and we have a design team and a dev team working on that kind of stuff. I know I did hear them talking about it. I don't have any more information on that though. But I mean, when you say MetaMask on mobile, are you using it through browser or using the app? Because the app is it's pretty good. It's not bad actually.
So when you open up MetaMask, in order for you to do any kind of transactions, you have to do it within the browser in MetaMask.
You mean in the app? Yeah. You go to browser and then it works pretty well, I think. I was pleasantly surprised at how well it worked.
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple of apps like Trust Wallet, that does it, and then I think I'm forgetting. There's another one, but there's no, like, I don't know what's the word for it. There's no native app per se. Like, for example, if you open up Binance, as soon as you open it up, you can just start trading. There is no native DeFi, Web3 app that just accesses the browser. So I was actually I was going to onboard my uncle, and he's like, "This is too many steps. I'll just stick with traditional investing."
Yeah, we do need to make things easier for general public for sure. The grandma test, But yeah,
hopefully your question was
MetaMask
answered.
For mobile works pretty well though. I like it. It's not too bad, I think. Maybe more steps than someone may be used to, I guess, but really not so much. I mean, if you think about a normal bank, you've got to send your ID and your KYC and maybe some utility bills and a blood sample and a strain of your hair. I'm joking, but there's a lot of steps to onboarding at any bank. Or like Coinbase, Crypto.com, Celsius. There's a lot of steps. So I think MetaMask for mobile, the app is not too bad. Maybe for normal people, yeah. But we do got to make it easier.
Cool. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah. Can I speak?
Oh, yeah, so we've got two more speakers, and then we're going to wrap this up. We've got Pedro Busquet and Lion RD.
Yeah. Okay. One question about I hear something about XRP. The interest is still for European people, or and for American people is not no interest for XRP. I hear something.
Did you say XRP?
Yes, XRP.
I'm not sure what your question is.
Okay.
I don't think there's any. I don't think there's any wrapped version of XRP on QuickSwap that I know of. I know that I heard mentions of it from some people, but I don't think. I think everyone's just kind of waiting to launch it because of the whole SEC issues. But it sounds like Binance has launched it, so I think some people from our team were either talking to or considering reaching out to talk to Binance about possibly bringing that to QuickSwap.
Yeah, understand.
Okay, can I speak now?
Yeah.
Okay, my question was basically from Celsius team, but as they are not here, so I am concerned about the fund security, that how they are going to manage, because every cross chain or the bridge is now somehow that it is going to get handed with the hackers. So how the fund are going to be safe even if it is going to the bridge? So can anyone answer that?
Someone was calling me and it messed up audio, but I think I got most of the question. So yeah, bridges are a security concern for sure. So you have to be very careful what bridge you use and who you trust, because there is some centralized factor with a lot of these. The Polygon bridge has not been broken, has not had any problems for years now. So it seems pretty strong, and it's had a lot of battle testing. I know Wormhole on Solana was recently hacked. I think, you know, I don't want to say any bad things
very
about
much
another.
concern, and I was a victim of one of them in Solana, so that's why I'm asking this security question.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, I can't answer, you know, why Celsius's security will be good. I don't have any technical answers to that, but I mean, Polygon thus far has been, you know, one of this, you know, it's one of the strongest bridges in the world. So we've had no issues with it.
Correct.
And the fact that it has a large multi-sig is pretty important. You know, 5 out of 7 with many large teams. I mean, in order to do anything with the bridge, you would have to have the QuickSwap team, the Aave team, Polygon team, I think Curve. You know, it's all, you know, huge. The biggest projects in the industry are on the multi-sig. So
yeah, gradually they are developing and doing good. So one more thing I would like to ask QuickSwap, that recently we had seen that in PancakeSwap or in other swap, people just add their token and liquidity, and suddenly it goes away. So lots of the fund is going.
You mean like rug pulls?
Just adding the simple token. Yeah, rug pulls, definitely. So in QuickSwap, does we have something to protect that?
So there's a balance we try to find. So on one hand, QuickSwap is decentralized. It's open source. It's permissionless. Anybody can list anything. Now, what QuickSwap can do is it can whitelist tokens, and it can give rewards and give marketing support from our Twitter, etc. So we do try to be very careful about who we add. It does happen. If people were around for Titan, I don't, you know, it's hard to say. I don't think it was a rug. I think it was, you know, a flaw in their contracts that was exploited. But it does happen. I will say that for sure, Polygon has had a small fraction of rug pulls versus something like Binance Chain and others.
Yeah,
because
of course. Because one more point. Sorry. If someone is providing high AYP, and people just see that okay, who is providing the more AYP, and they just came and just trapped. So, like that, is there would be like community voting or decentralized voting, that what you think or community think about that particular AYP provider?
so I
So,
mean,
is there
QuickSwap
something
does
you can
DD
provide?
on all projects that we support.
Okay.
Again, any
Okay.
project can list because it's permissionless and decentralized. But if we, as co-founders and team and developers and community members and everyone that's involved, we don't have control over like the code of the project. We can't change the base code. We can't do anything like that, but we can support. And so if we are going to support, through our personal means or through our official Twitter or anything like that, then we do due diligence as best we can. The space is moving quickly, and we do our best, but there will be times where there can be rug pulls or outright scams and hacks and all kinds of things. So it's up to everybody to do your own due diligence and be careful
Yeah,
about what you
absolutely.
invest in.
Yeah, as a decentralized exchange, we can't really we can't complete full due diligence reports. So yeah, tokens that we support, with rewards or with syrup, that it's possible and even likely that that they will. Which is why we do tweet about them. We tweet about everything that we give rewards to. We tweet about everything that we give syrup to. But that doesn't mean that it's a full endorsement or that we're
Yeah,
saying that we
open,
think this is part of it.
even though if it is decentralized, can we stop to just take out all the funds at a time? So at that time we can protect somehow.
I don't follow your question. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, I just telling that if someone has added in a liquidity pool and he's taking out all the fund at a time, so can we stop to take all the funds at a time from the pool?
That's a good
So can it
question.
be protected?
As it stands now, no, we don't have any. There's no friction there. People can add or remove liquidity permissionlessly. It's hard coded into the contracts. This is how Uniswap works. This is how we work too. So I think there's a fine line we have to be very careful about, and for many reasons. I mean, one, the whole point in this industry is to make things permissionless. So we don't want to be gatekeepers by just our ethos and values and kind of, I don't know if morals is the right word, but we think things should be permissionless. Ethereum and Polygon are, they're places where people can innovate and experiment, and similar to, America in the Wild West, people are gonna, travel and seek gold and try to build things and start businesses, and many will fail, and there will be snake oil salesmen and scammers abound, and you have to be careful of that. And everybody that's in this space should do their research and understand that. And if you ever see something that has, thousands of percent APY,
Absolutely. The more transparency will bring the more clarity to this platform.
Yeah,
I think.
I mean, if something seems too good to be true, then it probably is. So be careful and always, be sure-footed. Measure 3 times, cut once. Don't rush into things if it seems too good to be true. We have been very I may be lucky, and maybe it's the community. I think a large part of it is that our community in Polygon is
correct.
It's not the same crowd as Binance Smart Chain. Binance Smart Chain, I think, is a lot more gambly. People understand that a lot of things are rug pulls. I've heard a lot of people say, I'm going into this project. It's probably a Ponzi or a scam or rug pull, but I'm going to try to farm it for a bit and get out. And for some people, as crazy as that is, for some people, it's a viable strategy, is get in, make a bunch of money. We all know it's a Ponzi. I'm not saying this, but I'm saying this is what I hear. This is what I hear from people. they're like, we all know that this is a Ponzi, but there's huge rewards to start. And if you could just get in for a few days and then get out, you can make a bunch of money. And kind of like the VC strategy of if you invest in 100 projects and, 90 of them are lose money, 5 break even, 4 have a slight profit, and then one becomes Facebook. And maybe not the best example to compare these scams to, but you understand my point. That's what some people's strategy is. I would never do that. I think it's silly and really gambly when there's just so much great real stuff being built in the industry.
What is your opinion on Polygon regarding the metaverse? If we go the technical side, so is that the Polygon is the best chain to use for the metaverse?
I mean, right now for sure. There's no other competitor. I mean, the closest thing you have to compete with Polygon is, I should take that back. There's some good stuff being built as Ethereum layer 2s. But in terms of like Metaverse, NFT, gaming, Polygon is by far in the lead. I think I saw recently that Polygon has almost 4,000 dApps built. And like Sandeep said, there's like 500 to 1,000 games. You've got 8 times, last I checked, 8 times the daily activity on Polygon as you do on Ethereum base layer, which is just incredible.
Yeah, from the beginning only, Polygon was the first choice for the gaming. But if it is about metaverse and NFT now, of course, it is going to be first choice.
Well, I mean, you have Sandbox, for example, is moving a lot of their either, I think most of, or all of their land over to Polygon now. I don't remember the exact numbers, but yeah, when you have things like Sandbox and all these other projects coming over, I think it shows Polygon is the place to be for metaverse, gaming, NFTs. They've got a strong lead.
And just I was reading an article that Sol is quite the cheapest and less energy consumption blockchain, and it is on the top. So in energy efficiency, also Polygon is going for that.
I mean, Polygon has like very little energy consumption. It's very eco-friendly. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean. So, sorry, we actually said we were going to wrap this up with your question, Lionardi. We have a few more people who have requested to speak, but I don't know. This space has been going on for about 2 hours.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll add a little more to that. I mean, look, Solana, it's pretty well known, and I'm not here to badmouth them or anything, but they're very centralized. And so while that helps with being eco-friendly, I mean, there's a lot of centralized companies in the world that are quote unquote eco-friendly, and so you have to choose what's important to you. Is it speed and following the VCs, or is it the Polygon model, building from the ground up with community first, starting with the small projects and then attracting the large decentralized projects? To me, I'll go Polygon all day, any day of the week. And I mean, with Solana going down constantly lately, it's a pretty odd thing to see, quote unquote, they say they're decentralized, but Solana's been down constantly lately. And now with the wormhole hack and things, it's, maybe I shouldn't talk about price, but frankly, I'm surprised that their price hasn't dropped 90% with these things. I mean, in the past, if a blockchain went down, it's the end. That's it. You're done. Nobody's using you again. But for some reason, people have this tolerance or acceptance to this weird centralization and being able to shut down the blockchain on a regular basis, reverse transactions, and change things. With a centralized sort of, I'll just say it, basically a cartel. This is maybe controversial, but I'm not a big fan of Solana. I'm concerned that the industry puts so much money behind something that's so centralized, actually.
Yeah, I'll agree with you there. Hey, Rock, is there anything that you want to say before we wrap this up?
I think we've said enough.
Hey, am I able to say anything? Sorry?
Yeah, you can say so. Yeah, you can speak.
Okay, yeah. So
This
what I
is
wanted.
Cellcat.
Hey, Selkat.
Hi. Yeah, I just wanted to. Sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Yeah. So I wanted to kind of add to what you were saying earlier, Rock. Is that I remember a year and a half ago I was listening to Charles Hoskinson talk about how the future was interoperable, and there was that it was impossible to build a token the way that Celsius builds their token now. It was this dream a year and a half ago, and now you see Vitalik talking about how essential, really just unifying these communities, validating crypto as a whole. Uniting the space is moving forward. I think the answer was always unity. It was always interoperability, and we've seen that from literally every major leader in the space. And so it's just really cool today to see that starting with like the first big step starting with QuickSwap. And so I'm just really excited about that, and I'm just excited to see where Celsius and QuickSwap and all these partners head into the future. I'm just excited for interoperability and just the fact that together we're all going to be changing the world and just making crypto just a place where everyone can come and interact with it and not be so worried about a lot of the technical hurdles that come along, because I think we're all stronger together. And I think this is just a really cool announcement, because I've used your guys' product. I love QuickSwap, and it's just really cool to see this stuff happening just to get off the ground. And yeah, like I kind of look at it as, if we were to look at like history, right? I think Satoshi kind of, he seeded this idea of being empowered by your own money, and then you had Vitalik come in, and he created this amazing industry with all these dApps, and then Charles showed up and said, "You know what? We got to do this better. We got to make this better for the people. We got to refine things." And then what Celsius is doing, I think the North Star of Celsius is, after all those processes, Alex would be on that as the one that came together to unite the industry. And I think it's just super cool that you guys were willing to basically stand up and shake our hand and be the first ones to kind of really embrace that idea of unifying this community, because I think that there's a lot of castles being built, and I think this is really a huge step forward for the entire industry.
Yeah, there's so many areas where you can see this happening and where it should happen. And so I'm a hardcore decentralized guy. I'm also a hardcore Bitcoiner. But where I disagree with many Bitcoiners is, like, they don't want to see Bitcoin on Ethereum or on Celsius or in these places. But we need all of these different pieces, right? So there is a need for some centralized functions like fiat on-ramp and off-ramps. There is no decentralized fiat on-ramp, off-ramp. There just isn't. And I don't know how we'll build that, or if that'll be built. There have been attempts and theories on how we can do it, but frankly, it just isn't there. So having fiat on-ramp and off-ramps is one place where centralization is a necessity at the moment. Bitcoiners don't like this kind of stuff, or will argue against like using Bitcoin in DeFi, but wrap Bitcoin on DeFi is the strongest layer 2 of Bitcoin at the moment. So I said previously, wrap Bitcoin on Ethereum. Ethereum is a layer 2 for Bitcoin, and it helps move Bitcoin and open up the usage of Bitcoin to be able to be used in DeFi and collect yields in a decentralized way. And then if you bring that over to Polygon, because Polygon's a layer 2 of Ethereum, if Ethereum's a layer 2 of Bitcoin, that makes Polygon a layer 3 of Bitcoin. And I love Lightning Network. It's incredible. I was one of the first, I think, 500 nodes, Lightning Network nodes, but it's still growing at a strong pace. But wrap Bitcoin on Ethereum is doing very well. And you can take your Bitcoin to Celsius and earn yields and things. So there's a balance, and we have to be willing to work with each other. We have to be willing to work with politicians as well. The things that we're doing, it's great to see so much political support in the United States from senators like Cynthia Loomis and Ted Cruz now, and Toomey, and all these different great political supporters. You have some of the Bitcoin community questions Kelly in El Salvador. And what his intentions are, but it really, it doesn't matter what his intentions are. Everybody could have their own selfish intentions for adopting Bitcoin and crypto in general, and it doesn't matter what their intentions are. It just makes the network stronger. So we all have to work together, and we're all gonna make it.
All right. So with that, let's close this thing out. I know there are a few people who have still requested to speak, but we already had announced the intent to close this up. We're already over 2 hours. So thank you for your time, Rock. Cellcat, thanks so much for everything that you added. Everyone that's here, thank you for being here. Please stay tuned to QuickSwap, Polygon, and Celsius and CelsiusX Twitter and social media outlets to stay up to date with all of the latest news.
Yeah, and to summarize, we've got Celsius bringing over 100 million in liquidity. We're bringing, with Polygon and Celsius and QuickSwap, 10 million in liquidity farming rewards. We're launching our UI. We're going to be launching new features on top of our TVL, which will be very interesting, and we'll be discussing in a community forum soon. And there's going to be a discussion about changes to QuickSwap tokenomics that will be pretty incredible as well. That's another one that that's all I can say about that for now, but we'll talk. We'll be releasing a discussion, governance discussion soon about these things.
Spilling beans all the time, Rock. All right. Thanks, everyone. We're going to wrap this up now. Thanks, everyone, for your time, for spending this day with us. And we hope to, work with all of you again, see you all again in future conversations. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.